Let's see. So I think some of you got what I sent out, and the person who was responsible for that topic was Dinku, and I was wondering if Jasima can bring up that notice, and then maybe we could have Dinku read, because she's the culprit.
Okay, Jeff.
But this is very good what you wrote.
Thank you.
So go for it. There.
Okay. The night before your last chat, as I lay in bed, I started talking to Baba, asking him my perennial question about why it's the innocent who always have to suffer for the misdeeds of others, especially of those in power. My focus was on the virus, brought about, in my way of thinking, to teach the world to shape up, wake up, stop abusing the planet, live with love for one another, treat and respect all life and the planet itself. And it's the governments that are causing all the chaos with all their machinations and manipulations of people and situations. So, why are they not punished? Why do they get away with things while the rest of us have to suffer for their wrongdoings and their sins? And I heard Baba's words in my mind: there is no right or wrong, no sins or sinners. So then, why? Is it the collective sanskaras of the world? How do we overcome it? How does the world wake up and change for the better to live as He would have us live? Because no matter what befalls us, we don't seem to learn our lessons and continue in the same manner, collecting more sanskaras along the way. Is there no hope? Sorry for the ramblings, but would appreciate your inputs on this if possible, as this thought always troubles me and I can't find the answers. If there is no right and no wrong, no such thing as sin and sinner, then what is there?
Go ahead.
Why does
Yeah.
apparent evil seem to go unpunished in this world if our if our answer is merely intellectual or even only intuitive? It will probably not satisfy our heart. Spiritual history tells us that this question has to be answered experientially from the depths of us, and that is usually through great suffering and tears. Do you want me to go ahead and read
Yeah.
the questions
Yeah,
you've
yeah,
asked?
go ahead because some people
Okay,
don't get the don't get the email. Yeah.
okay. So, some questions that Jeff asks us to ask ourselves: what keeps Baba from flooding the whole world with his love, with his infinite power? Could he not easily change our situation? Why isn't the world learning from its sufferings and the impact of its negative behavior? Why can't we enjoy a pleasant and comfortable life and at the same time wake up from this dream of creation and experience our divine nature, the universal love within, to merge with Baba? Bhau Kalchuri used to say, sometimes it takes a nightmare to wake us up from a pleasant dream. What is the positive effect of the outer disturbance in the world, its apparent evils and injustices? For many, it drags them down to experience the worst qualities in themselves. Does it not, for some, force them to go deeper within themselves in order to find the higher ground of the soul? The period of human history uh, we are in is called Kali Yuga, the winter of the world. What would happen if we eliminated winter from the cycle of seasons? What would it do to the balance of nature? The perspective of time, on a personal level, Someone may go through a very painful divorce, which they suffer for years. And yet, many years later, they often say it's the best thing that ever happened to them. They came to realize that they took their spouse for granted and let their work consume them so much that they lost the closeness with their own children. Through this painful experience, they woke up to their own self centeredness. Oh, you've gone too high. Sorry. Uh, are injustice, betrayal, and suffering tools that Baba uses to wake us up? Could injustice be really a higher form of justice that we can't see? Just as a person who is an addict may have to bottom out, hit rock bottom before they call out for help and connect with their higher power, could it be the same for the collective? What are some of the positive outcomes of the pandemic? Do you think that humanity has suffered enough to avoid creating future suffering? Do you see signs of awakening around you in spite of what the news might convey? Why should things get better or improve according to our way of thinking? Are we being asked to develop that quality which can accept what is, to accept the unacceptable, to accept everything as Baba's love, even when it appears outright cruel and unjust? Is there a loving wisdom behind all that happens which we fail to see? What does it mean to accept God's love? How innocent are the innocent? The serenity prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference, living one day at a time, enjoying one moment at a time, accepting hardship as the pathway to peace. Sorry, taking as he did the sinful world as it is, not as I would have it. By Reynold Newberg.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, beautiful enunciation. So this is I mean, this is one of the core issues. I mean, that has to be worked out in ourselves because the world is always going to be a great challenge and contradiction to what we feel as love. I mean, of course, the saints and the masters have always said there is a loving wisdom behind everything that happens, but that that's that can be a point in a direction, but how to experience that? That's the truth of that, and is it really true? I mean, we have that's the great challenge. So, anybody have anything to say to this subject? Because Dinku, is asking for anything we can come up with that might help to resolve that. Okay.
Diane or Terry?
Yeah. My understanding, Jay Baba, by the way,
Yeah.
is that Baba has a big plan and we may never understand it. And we may never get why, there are needy people and why we're not all fed and housed and loved and nurtured. It's certainly the hope of us all, but it doesn't work out that way right now. And it hasn't worked out that way for a long time. I remember, Jeff, when you were talking about the Holocaust and that, it had to happen. And so, it changed it changed the way I looked at it. Like, I still don't know why it had to happen, why 5 million Jews and gay people had to be killed, but, it had to happen for some reason. Baba knew it was happening. So I don't know. I guess I do live minute to minute. And when something really hard happens, I figure that it's a karmic thing and that you have to breathe in and try and be present with the beautiful things that you have in your life and do the best you can to help the needy and your community and our community. And trust him. I don't know any other way to do it, really. As long as you're putting out as much as you can, it's Baba that we have to put our faith in. So that's my...
Yeah, well spoken, really. I mean,
And Ralph,
Yeah.
are you trying to get our attention? Because otherwise it's like a bad strobe light.
He's putting something up there with
Right.
text.
Right. It's not visible. It's blurry. So
Maybe he could read
Yeah.
it.
you have to use
We can't read, we can't see it.
yeah,
I
It's
will
br-
say, though, that
Yeah.
Hitler did not come to a good end.
Yeah.
I mean, he committed suicide with his girlfriend there, Eva Braun. So, he was punished by that end, I would think. I don't know.
yeah. I mean, we have just kind of a small picture of the whole trajectory of life. It's, we don't see that future lifetimes, everybody kind of gets their karmic due unless love intervenes. But in our lifetime, we may never see what happens to some of these people on the stage today and all of their antics. They may kind of make it through without ever being brought to account in this lifetime. But they they may have something awaiting them. Okay, Claire.
Clair.
Hi, Jeff.
Yeah. Hey ho.
Hey, Baba.
Hey, wait 1 second. Let me show you something.
Okay.
Let me show you something. Let's see. I don't know if you can see that.
Yes, I see it.
That's in the latest calendar. That's that lake you probably walked around when you were a little girl.
This is a picture of Baba in Nanking.
And then King, and the purple mountain behind it,
Wow.
and the lake that you as a little girl walked around.
This is amazing. Thank you, Jeff, for showing this to me.
Yeah.
And for those who didn't know what's going on, when I was at the center a few weeks ago, I discovered that I was born and raised in the city called Nanking in China until I was 18 before I came to the States. And when I was at the center a few weeks ago, I discovered that Baba spent 3 days in my hometown back in 1932. Jeff was the one that actually found it in Lord Maher. And it was such a revelation to me. And Baba went to all my favorite places in the city growing up.
Yeah. Beautiful. It's just beautiful.
Wow, that's amazing, Claire.
Yeah.
But Jeff, I raised my hand because I was going to continue kind of add on to what you were saying.
Sure.
In
Yeah.
responding to, why we see injustice and evil in the world. I think that's kind of part of the package of duality, right? Like there can't be pleasure without pain, can't be, good without evil. And it's part of the mechanistic working of the soul's journey that one has to go through, cycles of both good and bad in order to kind of propel the soul to get to that point to start involution. that's kind of from a rationalistic point of view.
Yeah, beautiful. And shake a bunch of the sanskaras from our
Right.
off of us.
Right. And
Yeah.
then, like Baba said, you know, I think I read it somewhere. Someone asked him, why doesn't he just, you know, use his love to help us all achieve God realization to begin with without having to go through millions and millions of incarnations? And I think Baba's response was something along the lines of, if it was so easily obtained, basically without experiencing all the pain and the suffering, we wouldn't really appreciate the infinite bliss and power and, you know, knowledge and peace when we attain God realization. We would only fully appreciate it after going through all these cycles of, you know, incarnation and its associated suffering.
Yeah, beautiful.
Thank you, Claire.
Claire, how did you hear of Baba over there in China?
No, actually, I didn't hear about him until this past year when I living in Westchester, New York.
Oh, you're near New York City where I live.
Oh yeah. Oh, you're in New York, Tina?
Yeah.
Wow, that's great.
Where in Westchester?
I'm in White Plains.
Oh, yeah, it's close to the city.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you heard about him from a friend, or where'd you hear about him?
I actually heard about him from my ex-husband. He is a seeker and a Baba lover, and we're going through a very painful divorce. But as the marriage is ending, I kind of feel like I'm getting closer to Baba, which is a blessing.
Is your ex-husband someone we know?
I'm not sure. His name is Jonah Bernstein.
Yeah. He came to the center. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Anyone else want to weigh in on, you know, what Dinku has brought up? Okay.
Diane here.
So this question, Dinko, I think you really nailed it. And it's something that I think about a lot, because I think you hear the expression, why did this have to happen? Or just the cruelty that you see on an everyday basis. And so I have said what many of you have said tonight, and that is that I need to appreciate that I only see it on this one, like with this only one set of lenses, and that I have no concept of the overall picture. And I guess it's a leap of faith to try and believe that it's got some all universal purpose, but that's very hard for me, who's a very literal kind of person. This leap of faith in turning things over to Baba, I admittedly am still a puppy at. So, thanks, Tony. Yeah, kind of a puppy. So I would love to be in this dialogue, because it's a real hard one to try and understand. There's this story that happened eons ago where I was getting off a freeway and there were 2 lanes, and somebody came from the 3rd lane and cut in. But as we were all turning, he got stuck against, there was nowhere for him to go because he didn't make it. And I remember thinking, wow, that's an example of me seeing an immediate karmic reaction to something that somebody did. But how many times do we get to see that? A lot of times we say, when we see atrocious behavior, karma's a bitch, or karma will get them. But many times we don't get to see it.
That's true, Diane.
Yeah.
Walked
It
out.
was There was one woman that came to the center who was, a black woman who was well educated and everything and grew up in New York and, suffered a lot of prejudice, directed toward her and everything. And when she came here in 1952, she said to Baba, why was I black? And Baba said, because in the past you were very cruel to blacks. She was getting, and it's not a punishment, she was getting the other side of the experience so that she wouldn't do that in the future. So some of these things that we experience are we get the other side of the experience that we were blind to, so as to move us toward being actually more loving and empathetic. So but
Ready?
I'm not sure if I've got this correct or not, but did Baba not say after World War II, sorry, that it wasn't enough? Can you validate or invalidate that, Jeff?
well,
It
Baba
wasn't.
said, he asked the women mandali.
Mhm.
I think they asked him, is that it? And Baba said, no, but he asked the women, would you like one big war or a lot of little wars?
Right.
And they chose a lot of little wars.
Okay.
So in a way, that's what we've had.
Right.
uh,
Right.
that same aggression, human aggression, didn't get burned out of the collective after
Right.
World War II. So it's going on.
Right. And it is challenging for sure in all of our lives because it's bringing up, in my own life, having to accept some things you cannot change. You just have to say, this is what Baba wants, and I don't understand it. And it's hard when you see, children suffering because of things that are going on. And but I for myself, this topic was like, yes, I need to hear things that, yes, I know in my head and sometimes in my heart that, yes, this is all Baba. He knows what he's doing. I do not. But there are some days that it is so incredibly painful that, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think the gift of the virus has been having this platform where we've been able to talk to people that believe in Baba and know that this just isn't some random thing, that it has a purpose.
Yeah. Yeah, I think of rather than a world war, we got a worldwide pandemic, which
Right.
is much, much less destructive and less hatred and everything in it. It's to my way of thinking, is bringing everybody, waking people up, but not in such a brutal way as war does.
Well, I think it
Yeah.
depends on where you're sitting. There are some areas that it's pretty cruel, Jeff. It's
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah, but what I
And,
mean, if you considered a worldwide war where 20 million people are getting killed
mhm.
within a short span, but yeah. Um, so let's see. I know Tony was in the United Nations. He should know something about. No, you take your time.
I just wanted to recommend an app I found with all kinds of free meditations, guided meditations, and it's called Plum Village. And it's really fabulous.
That's
Mhm.
Thich Nhat Hanh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Raman had raised his hand if it's a,
Yeah. Ra-
yeah,
Yeah. It's done.
Oh, hello.
yeah.
Uh, I kind of what I understand from this conversation and what Jeff just mentioned, that karma is not a punishment, but understanding the other side of things. I remember in one of my personal experiences that I was noticing that sometimes I had such a shallow view of certain experiences that they come to my mind through outside. And I have such a shallow understanding of it. And I realized that somehow I attract that kind of experience later on without I notice it. And then I realized, oh, this is, that's what it meant. And I realized somehow life and intelligence and Baba somehow balances mind, because sometimes when we have a shallow understanding of certain things, then there is high possibility that we have a strong conviction or beliefs about what is, oh, that's that way. But by inviting another type of experience that I go through it myself, I realize, oh, I didn't understand it before. And in this way, it balances my mind, so I don't become so extremist or judgmental
Yeah.
about those type of experiences. And I think in this way, in maturing me up in a process of evolution or an awakening, because any type of extremist kind of, it seems like you're stuck in something, and we have to come back to this middle ground to understand the different aspect of things. So, and sometimes I have lost this idea of the karma as a punishment. I did it in the past, now I have to do it. But for me, I think these are different layer of understanding. But sometimes it's just I invite certain experiences just for a awakening part of it, rather than because I did it wrong before I do it. This is what happened to me. I come to sense that really it's not so much about I'm paying my dues, but it's most about what do I need to, in a soul level, what do I need to, so I invite it to my life. So I come to, um, so I come to realization of it, awakening aspect of it, in a sense to have deeper understanding of the process or that experience.
Yeah.
And I realize sometimes when I think of word like the war and certain experiences that come to our life, and this is why God cannot be otherwise, or just be more loving, or not giving us these type of experiences. But I realize after, sometimes it's the experience, and then what happened after the experience also we need to consider. Like I find it, a lot of people, when I was reading about them, most when they went through some difficult time or near death experiences, when they recover from that experience, they were such a changed person that if they wouldn't go through that process, probably it would take them such a long time to come to that kind of realization or awakening. So it's a
Yeah.
kind of shortcut sometimes, um, through to enter to such a deep pain, to kind of maturing or feeling aspect of us, so that the feeling is like a wine. It by crushing and holding, keeping us in this big jar of wine, and we boil inside of going through this, chemical changes, and all of a sudden something comes out that each one, when they drink of it, they feel a certain experiences that is so usual.
Yeah.
And also I one day I was just meditating at the beach, and this sound came to my mind saying that, Ramin, do you know how pearl, Pearl, is created? And it was some kind of idea that I never thought about it before. And then I thought about it a little bit, and I did some research online about it, and I realized there is a couple of theory. One of them is that sometimes this sand or certain rough spot that enter to this shell and enter between the soft parts of the body of pearl and then the harder part, the shell part, and stick there. And it seems that in one theory says that the pearl invite this roughness inside and then generate some kind of lubrication around it, so it's not as rough as is experience. And through that process, after a year or two, from the other side of their body comes such a lustrous, well-rounded pearl. And I just thought about it. Life threw us so much of this roughness, and what we do with it, sometimes it's stuck in certain things that we don't know what to do with it. And I realized by accepting, by bringing to ourselves and forgive it for the experience, and then later on that part we mature in that process, and then we can offer such something like a pearl to next person that I speak with, or next person that goes through that process, as some sort of understanding that it can be very helping for other people experiences which they go through, that rough experiences in life. I'm sorry I took too much time to
that's
explain these
excellent.
things.
That you explained it quite well. I do feel one thing that Baba will give us is the intuitive understanding of why things are the way they are. Meaning that it's not, trying to have to get proof and everything. Will kind of know why. Well, I want to ask all of you this question. This question came to me. I can't remember. I think it was in India. And and Baba said to me, very, very seriously, would you like anything? Let's see, how did he put it? Is there anything in your life that you would want changed? Anything that's happened in your life that you would want changed?
Yeah.
He was kind of asking me this seriously. I mean, as if in that moment he could erase some of these things that happened. And I thought about it. And there was a kind of an urgency. It wasn't like I could spend 3 days on it. It was like, and I thought about it like, would I be the same person that I am now? If I hadn't done all those unkind things or hadn't gotten hurt in the past and all that, would I have the empathy that I have now? Would I have the awareness that I have? And I actually said, no, Baba, don't change a thing. And I mean, that's kind of like a backwards way of saying, I accept your will. I accept all that's happened to me. So anyway, I'm going to put that out there. Just what if Baba asked you? Just, what if Baba asked, would you like anything in your life, whatever has happened to you or whatever you've done, would you want any of it changed? I just think about it.
Wendy has
Absolutely
very-
not.
Right, if you don't want anything changed, do this.
Okay.
I want plenty changed.
So it's amazing. You know, even Gabriella's got her thumb up. I don't know if she intends it to be up. Oh, yeah, okay. No, it is, I mean, that's amazing. I mean, that means that we have accepted what Baba has done in our life, you know.
I haven't accepted it.
Yeah.
I'm not very happy with it.
Yeah.
I really wish I hadn't incarnated during this pandemic.
Yeah, but then what happens if you come to the end of it and you have awakened far more, you know, you really awakened to something in yourself? You
Well,
might-
I might not make it to the end of it.
Okay, well, okay, anyway, I put that out there. Anyone want anything, anyone have to say?
Well, I wanted to say something about earlier, but this just
Yeah, go ahead, yeah.
This thing about karma that I was just picked up on when I came in. I had this interesting experience recently where I was grateful. The understanding of karma, it was a situation where I realized that my mother caused me enormous pain recently, and I was so upset with her. And then suddenly I had this real remembrance of how much pain I'd caused her in this lifetime. And suddenly it was like, oh. And it was like, oh, yes, of course. And I saw the beauty of karma. Like, in other words, the karma was balanced. I mean, I don't know for sure what Baba's doing, but that was the feeling I had. And for the first time, I was grateful. I was grateful for this, bad experience, because it meant that all this guilt, or all this I'd been carrying of sorrow and guilt for what I had caused her was now balanced, and I could see it. It was like a revelation.
Beautiful.
And so that made me appreciate the beauty of the intricacies of karma, the details. Like you were talking about all these little karmic sanskaric threads that are so, impossible to understand because they're all so tiny and they're all interweaving. Okay, so I don't understand all that, but I did get this sort of larger, grosser feeling about karma in general, and I was suddenly grateful for it. So I don't know if that's much specific. I mean, the other part about feeling I've went through so much in this lifetime about regret and wishing things were changed, and I've had, for those who don't know, I had an accident it's 26 years ago and have been paraplegic. But I would not be the person that I am now. I mean, sometimes the pain or this physical stuff, I'm like, oh my God, I don't, it could be karma, I could be grateful for that too, but the thing is just that, I was so much more shallow of a person when I first, before this happened, I think. And I just want to say something else, because in our meeting earlier, I told this poem song that I wrote when I was before my accident, like 4 years before. And when I first came to Baba, all this stuff came clear. It was just like, I don't know, it was as if all these many, many, many lifetimes of understanding, suddenly I had all this, I'd write things that now I look back on it and I go, wow, how did I write that? Where did that come from? I couldn't write that anymore. So I had I kept maybe just the boon of the many, many lifetimes of work, because I had just come to Baba, and I think this may happen to many people. It suddenly showed itself, but later, I couldn't write that way or feel I could. But as a soul, I mean, maybe I couldn't as glibly have written something, or it wasn't that boon, but as a soul, what did you say earlier today, Jeff? You said that through the tears in the soul, the light comes.
Yeah, Rumi, through the light comes in through the wound.
Through the wound, yeah. And it's not. I'm not as. I don't look as shiny. I look worse. I don't sound as good. I sound worse. But deep down, I know. I can feel the work that Baba is doing in the depths of my soul, you know. And I don't think that would have happened without some of the really, the wounds that you're describing. Thanks.
Beautifully said, Gabrielle. Really. Yeah. Beautiful.
Marion.
Who?
Marion.
Oh, Marion. Oh, I didn't understand that. Hi. Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you everyone for your sharing. And so I just want to take a few minutes for a sharing because I couldn't possibly answer all those questions in a few minutes. And something that stands out to me is when I'm posed with a why question by some of my friends or someone I know, where I can be a little bit glib, is that, and somebody who's on a spiritual path, I say, could you rephrase that and connect with one of your needs? Because a why question requires going back to the Big Bang. And then I usually get a laugh from that. So, because what I've learned is sometimes I do complain about my life to Baba, but what I have is a complaining session. And I set up, now's my time, Baba, I need to complain because I'm feeling like a victim. I'm feeling like life happened to me. And then I have the complaining session and it shifts after I allow it. And the same way when I feel mean and nasty, I have mean, nasty Marion, who's my lower self sitting next to me. And, and I let her carry on, but not take over. And I do that with Baba. And so what I've found is that what has really, I feel so grateful for, is in the discourses has everything in there that is needed, except it doesn't have all the processes, like the how-tos. So the world of duality is spelled out, two sides of the coin, just as one of the people here said, pain and pleasure and life or death and all that. So I know when I'm in feeling like very submissive and trying to be good and trying to get things and manipulate something, the other side of that coin is aggression. And in me, it gets hidden because I don't want anybody to see that because they won't like that in me. And so, but meanwhile, I have to go there to enter the unitive state of both, the and. And so sometimes what I describe is if you take a quarter, got two sides of the coin of duality, aggression, submission, pain, or pleasure. If you cut that coin in half, there's no back to the head and tails. You don't see the back of the tail and the back of the head. It's just plain in there. It joins together in the middle. It melts together in the middle. But you'll have a head and tails on the outside of the coin. So it behooves me to really have all the processes in my life. I do core energetics, I do all kinds of psychodrama, and I know when I'm in certain conundrums, but I regret some things in my life, that I can say, what is my real need? And when I ask, because Baba said, don't ask me for anything you want, but I will fulfill every need. And that is so consoling because I've said to some friends of mine who say, oh, don't want anything. I said, wait a minute, don't throw out the baby with the bathwater. The wants are the gateway to the real needs because I have to know all the things I want before I can surrender them and give them up and contact my real needs. And so that really serves me so much. So I have my whole long list of needs and I'll sit down and write them out. And then I'll put a little equal sign. What is the real need I'm trying to fulfill so I can give this to Baba? Because Baba does fulfill every need of mine. So it's not an easy road, but it works. So that's it. That's
Oh,
my
thank you,
sharing.
Marianne.
I
Yeah.
can't answer all those questions.
Yeah.
We have Janet. Janet.
Yes, it just took me a minute. I thank you, everybody. I'm really touched by what you were saying, Gabriella. Gabriella, anyway, it really touched me. But what I wanted to say is that this is an experience in my own life recently. I had several years of very intense difficulty with my oldest child, who is like now 50. So I'm not talking adult child. And one of the things that happened is that she separated from her husband, and they have a child, my grandson. And there's a lot of detail that I won't go into, but it was very disturbing to me, extremely upsetting. And we were at loggerheads a lot of the time. And and Bob and I were in communication about it on a regular basis, shall we put it that way. Well, one of the things that happened is that, my heart sort of changed. And I mean, Baba created within me a change of heart. And certain events have happened, like I with the help of my other daughter, we did an incredible 50th birthday party for her and all kinds of things. And she has been able to see, she has realized how much I care for her and how much I love her. And she said to me, basically that it created a new structure, a foundation and structure for our relationship. And she has started seeing me differently. And what this has to do with the topic is this: if she had not separated from her husband, if that had not occurred, this healing in my relationship with her would not have occurred. And so it's an example of something that, it's a personal example of something that I thought was really bad has become very healing in my life. I mean, I'm not glad that she's not with her husband, don't get me wrong, but it has created an opening for a healing. And it just came to me a couple days ago that Baba, that in some way, Baba orchestrated this, because I was always asking for our relationship to be healed. And so the reason why I'm saying it, I think maybe it makes sense, is that good versus evil, good versus bad. It really is a lesson for me that I don't know. That which appears to me to be really bad, and that I'm angry about and totally upset and on, may turn out to be the answer to my deep prayer with Baba. And that, in fact, in this case, that is what happened. And so that's just an example from my own experience.
Yeah, excellent. I mean, you gave karma a good report. No, it's beautiful. Whoop.
It's like that saying, everything will be all right in the end. If it's not all right, it's not the end.
Yeah.
Yes, Tina.
Yeah, that's what Diane sends out, I think. Okay.
Yeah.
Ganesh.
Yes. So as I was looking through today's topic, and there's one quote from Everything and Nothing, which answers much of it. And I thought, let me share that quote. And that's like a very profound quote which connects to this topic. So I'd like to read that quote from Everything and Nothing that answers, I think, much of today's topic. So here is the words from Everything and Nothing. It says, if you want to blame anyone, blame me, for everything in the universe has come out of me. And so I am the only one who can be blamed. But you have no idea of my love and compassion, which sustains your very being. In love is infinite compassion, and whatever happens is already tempered by compassion. You cannot understand this unless you go beyond the reach of mind. And then it follows, if at all I did take advantage of your weakness, it would be only for your advantage. Weakness is but a degree of strength. As infinite life, I experience myself as everyone and everything. I enjoy and suffer through you, make you aware that you are infinite. So this is the quote I thought I'll read because it's
read it once again. That's very good.
Yeah. If you want to blame anyone, blame me, for everything in the universe has come out of me, and so I am the only one who can be blamed. But you have no idea of my love and compassion, which sustains your very being. In love is infinite compassion, and whatever happens is already tempered by compassion. You cannot understand this unless you go beyond the reach of mind. And then next para, if at all I did take advantage of your weakness, it would be only for your advantage. Weakness is but a degree of strength. As infinite life, I experience myself as everyone and everything. I enjoy and suffer through you to make you aware that you are infinite.
Beautiful.
So this is the quote from page 49 of the book, Everything and Nothing. And this has actually helped me a lot in life, because whenever I don't find answers, I keep reading this quote and it gives me strength. So this is something like it's very profound, impactful, that I found from the book Everything and Nothing by Baba.
Yeah.
Beautiful. It's on page 49.
Yeah. And it's interesting that where Baba says we have to go beyond the reach of mind order to understand, well, that's why I say intuition. If we can get to intuition and then the experiential side, it'll we can tolerate this creation.
Mahesh Jan.
Okay, Meher Baba to everyone. Baba said so. According to my understanding, Baba said so, that the karmic law governs the universe. And although the whole universe is an illusion, yet it is governed by a definite law. And law deals with every detail and minute. But we cannot escape from the law of karma. But we can transcend to illusion. Law does not bind us as any longer. This aspect was demonstrated by Lord Krishna in the field of Kurukshetra. And Krishna said same thing to the Arjuna. Kill your relatives, kill your friends in the battle of Kurukshetra. You must have heard about the famous battle. Arjuna refused to saying that, how can I kill my own kith and kin? Krishna then declared, I am above the law. The whole creation is for me, and you will not bound. So that indicates that whatever is the karma theory, and if you have the grace and blessings of the beloved, then definitely you'll clear off your karmic theory and you are removed from that. And one more thing also is such that just think of it, God in within all and in everyone, and He is infinite. God is all powerful. God is in all bliss. Yet though God is in each one, how helpless we feel. We weep, we feel pain, and we feel sorrow. Although God, who is infinitely powerful and bliss, is there. Why? It is because of our own bindings. But there is one way to get liberated from these bindings, that is through love. This is taken from Lord Meher, first edition, page number 5017. There's also one more quotation which says, Baba says, on Sunday, October 13th, Baba explained some more points about samskaras and what are the second typed articles had been read out. Samskaras must be balanced perfectly. This cannot be done a mathematical process, or it would be easy. God, good and bad samskaras are both binding. If you have good samskaras, you may take birth as a great rich man. With bad samskaras, you may be born as a miserable leper, so on. But you cannot get freedom without a master. So you do not know how many bad samskaras you have and how many good samskaras you need. But the perfect master knows, and he will work within you to balance them. And I've slipped down further down. I say that there was a man who was a great murderer in his life. He murdered 99% people, and one day he felt very depressed and sick of it. And so he went to the Buddha and frankly and openly confessed before him all his crimes, adding that he was feeling most dejected and wanted to end it all. Buddha told him to go and sit by the side of at a certain road and think of him. The murderer did so. Years passed. One day, while he was sitting there and thinking of Buddha, rider came by and stopped before him and told him to move aside. The man refused. The rider started lashing with his whip and instantly reverted back to his old ways. And the man pulled the rider from his horse and stabbed him, and he killed him. And however, at the very moment the man realized God. The rider was carrying his person message from one king and to another ordering to death of 100 spies, but saving exact number of lives that as he had murdered is good and bad samskaras balance. The man, of course, did not know all this, and was only thus saved by the Buddha because of the master knew. Therefore, if you obey implicitly and unquestioningly, you win because whereas your conception is limited, the master knows all and gives you just what is the best for you. Avatar Meher Baba Ki Jai. This is from Lord Meher, first edition 2622. So ultimately, whatever is as per the divine plan of this thing, and he is above the law and above the karmic law also. Jai Meher Baba.
Yeah, thank you. Wow. Now I mean, the thing is that Dinku, is this answering any of your questions?
Yes and no. I'm always questioning everything, basically.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's like I don't know. I mean, it's, if we are meant to attain the peace, universal love, and everything, and why were we created to go through? I mean, surely we would have lived harmoniously, without having to go through all this, because I feel personally that this is what's causing more strife, more hatred amongst people. And if the ultimate goal is to attain that, then why have to go through all this? I know it's karma and I know it's to make us realize it, but I can't help asking why.
Yeah. No, I know. Well, it's just much slower than we would all like it to happen, I would say. If you're getting rid of a stain, you know, you just have to keep rubbing and rubbing until the stain is on a fabric. It may take you many, many applications to be able to get rid of the stain. We'd like to have, some kind of a stain remover that, you can just spray on there and it's gone. But, there was one time where someone came to Bob and asked, if he would give him God realization. And, you're God, you should be able to give me God realization. And this is the figure Baba said that, well, suppose you're climbing, I'm paraphrasing, but suppose you're climbing Mount Everest. You're a mountain climber and you've got all of your crew and you've climbed up, maybe halfway up the mountain and everything. And what if someone came along with a helicopter and said, hey, I can take you right up to the top? Would you want that to happen? And the person said no, because it's part of it is the thrill and the effort and everything of climbing up the mountain. And so that was Baba's answer. And in a way, we say we may not like it to be this slow, but this way we kind of we're really caught up in the whole climb. We're getting enmeshed in the whole climb. And like I say, if Baba came along and said, well, Dinku, let's I can lift you out of I can put you up on the third plane and just kind of skip some of the stuff. Would you go for it? If he could just pick you up and advance you, you'd probably think about it. Anyway.
Yeah, I would.
and I think, I feel Baba has to ask our permission, anybody's permission, to be able to come into their life. You think that, well, he's got infinite knowledge, power, and bliss. He should be able to just walk in the door of anybody's life. He created us. But love prevents him from just barging in. We have to invite him in. It is just, I don't know why it's that way, but love is that way. It waits, it's so polite, it waits for permission. And we invite him in. So if Baba were to go to this humanity today and ask, can I come in? A lot of people would say no. I don't want you, you just stay out. And that's why he can't change things. He can't just wave a wand and change things. That's just my view.
Yeah.
So
thanks.
So now we got to move over to the United Nations and find out,
I'm good with that, but I see Wendy has a question or step.
Oh, yeah.
That's okay. I can go next if you want.
Yeah. You go ahead.
When I got this email, Dinku, it just, for me, it was like, oh my goodness. And the first thing that came to my mind was my family, we didn't have a lot of money. So we oftentimes at Christmas time made things for one another. And so I, all my life, had a fascination with God. And my parents would sometimes shake their head. Anyway, when I was 23, I wrote this poem and gave it to my mom and dad for Christmas. And I just wanted to read it and
go ahead.
What it's worth. God gave us this world. He laid it at our feet. The unknown to be conquered, Why? To better it with our little wisdom, so that the next generation could add another link to the chain of knowledge. But we make little use of it or take advantage of his gift. And yet he has given us so much. Men use their wisdom for wars and power, only to destroy themselves in the end. But life will go on long after our journey, to offer others everything, only to be refused.
Wow, beautiful.
Oh, Wendy, thank you. That's
Wow.
beautifully said.
Yeah.
I couldn't
23
believe
years old.
23.
Yeah, beautiful.
Wow.
Yeah. It just, yeah, this. So thank you, because I probably wouldn't have gone to that. So I thank you for the Christmas gift,
Yeah.
a memory.
Yeah, beautiful.
Can you read it again?
Sure.
Yeah, read it again. Yeah.
God gave us this world. He laid it at our feet. The unknown to be conquered. Why? To better it with our little wisdom, so that the next generation could add another link to the chain of knowledge. But we make little use of it or take advantage of his gifts. And yet he has given us so much. Men use their wisdom for wars and power, only to destroy themselves in the end. But life will go on long after our journey, to offer others everything, only to be refused.
Yeah. Wendy.
Yeah, who would have thought, eh?
Yeah, that's the PhD level there.
Yeah. Jay Baba, thanks for listening.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, I guess that's me then. So I haven't said anything because I really didn't know what to say. I've just been making notes and a couple of things. The first thing that came to mind, if you're familiar with Byron Katie, who wrote the book Loving What Is, it's a wonderful book and method she's got there. And at one point she talks about that there are three things. There's my business, your business, and God's business. And really my only concern is with my business. Your business, it's comes down to withdrawing projections from other people, where you have conflicts that are maybe 90% yourself and it seems like it's 90% them. But God's business is, what's happening in the world. But I didn't want to share that because that sounds cold. And it's not how I feel. I mean, you do have, yes, you have compassion, you have empathy. Baba talked about do your best and then leave the rest to me. I actively campaigned twice, well, for me actively, for Bernie Sanders, because I felt Baba really liked Bernie Sanders. And even when I got a hint from him that Bernie was not going to win, I was also getting the message, you go out and continue. So that's one rare political thing I was doing, but it was in the spirit of do your best, but then you leave it to me because it's my will that governs the cosmic illusion. At the end, just after hearing, I don't remember who I was reacting to, but when it comes to what's going on in the world, I think I have developed in my own life over these past 69 years, an increasing, ever increasing trust of Baba, trusting Baba in my own life, looking back, as you said, Jeff, on the things that, was there anything you would change? And to see how Baba brought so much opening and growth out of things that seemed so horrible in the beginning. And that sort of has extended to me, with me, to the world, that I really do trust that Baba knows what he's doing. And I don't think some of these questions are answerable at our level. And but to have the quality of heart to trust. The other thing is, even that's a gift. When I went in for surgery, and not surgery, but an angiogram, and then it wound up being stents also for my heart. I asked them if I could use the bathroom first, and I had a chat with God. I really just wanted to talk to Baba with the doors closed and no one would hear me. I got off the stretcher and gurney, and I said, if it's my time, I'm cool with that's your choice. That's not mine. But can you please give my heart trust and calm my mind and give my heart trust? And I went into the procedure. They told me afterwards I was the most unusual patient they'd ever had, that I was laying on the gurney saying, gosh, I feel so happy. And I was singing. I had told them I might sing, or I might say Baba, Baba. That's the way I pray. But that trust is a gift, but you can ask for that gift. And what else? I had some other notes here. On a more personal level, to me, all this stuff is personal. I talked about my daughter, I think last week, and what I didn't mention, that she had been ghosting me lately, the new term, but now I know exactly what it means. And what's been clear is that the situation is prompting me first to love more, to include her in my prayers more, very specifically talk to Baba about absolute blessings in every respect. And I'm noticing today, taking note of things in me, because I have no idea why, had no idea why this was happening. And she kind of gave me a hint today. She answered a text. And it brought me to a point where I'm willing to see certain traits and qualities of mine that I didn't want to know about. And they were apparent in my relating to her. But so Baba has been opening me through what would seem like a horrible experience. Being willing to see that. One thing that came to mind was, and in listening to Janet's story about her daughter's 50th birthday and finally everything resolving. And I thought, gee, I just have to wait till I'm 90. But I'm not putting any conditions on Baba. It could be tomorrow. It could be another lifetime. Who knows? But another thing is, in terms of when there's something going on, like something with a child, or the limitations that have come up with COVID and the shutdowns, I find it's really, there's a prayer from A Course in Miracles that I made my own the first time I read it. And I personally believe Baba gave that book out incognito, directly, but incognito. That's just my conviction about what the content is. But there's one prayer in there that's, what would you have me do? Where would you have me go? What would you have me say? And to whom? And as a result of that, I mean, it's every day it has an application. But when the shutdown first came in March of 2020, I started sharing my music, my songs, my poetry, things that I had kept to myself, except for small groups and open mic things. And I started doing every 3 days, maybe a half an hour of my work, up 55 live streams. And it was clear this was something that I had to give. And Baba was saying, now give it. You have no reason not to give it. Give it now. And I did. It was work, but it was wonderful. There are things that he may be asking me to do. And if I don't ask, I will never do them, and I will continue to experience the thing as some horrible external occurrence. But I think I can speak for myself, if I ask, I get what it is. Sometimes it's difficult, but I get what it is, and I do it by his grace, God willing. As for the UN, I'm just looking at my notes here. So as for the UN, I have a lot of Baba stories, and especially particularly with the UN. And I feel like Forrest Gump sometimes, because I'm found myself, Baba, putting me in the middle of interesting things, and clearly he was working through them. One involved Fidel Castro in Cuba, and it's way too long to tell now, but I just came across a video of me telling this story in an open mic, and I'll copy the link into the chat if anyone's interested. You'll see the Baba touches, but I didn't say Baba's prayer. I said there are 3 prayers that I said when I went to bed and stuff like that. Finally, and I'm not sure how all of this relates, but I wonder if I can share a very small poem. A friend of mine from these open mics just suddenly passed away, and I didn't know her poetry that much, as it turned out. I knew her from other events where I met her. Her name was Wynne Henry. And so I went and bought her book, and it felt like she had written her epitaph. This is published many years ago, but it's also just a beautiful little piece on its own right. And I'd like to share it here. She says, "If soul travel is real, I want to take that journey on a one-way ticket, dance among the planets, and live like I was meant to, unrestricted by gravitational pull of land, because caged birds sing, but they can't soar with clipped wings. So if soul travel is real, I will fly."
Beautiful.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. You know, here's one of the greatest challenges on on this is there is other and there is Baba. Is it really just Baba and there really is no other? That's, in other words, are other people doing this to us, or is it Baba doing this through others toward us? You know, I mean, that's a very hard thing to get it that it is all Baba doing it, but that, you know, that has to be experienced. You know, not just a nice theory. Is Baba really in there doing this toward me? You know, or is it those people acting independent of Baba? You know, is it pure Baba, straight Baba through them, or is it partial Baba and partial of them? All that eventually gets worked out at a deep level, and I think that's a great challenge. So that it's really just Baba doing everything, but just to say it's all Baba doing everything, oh my God, it's not that easy. Yeah. Hey, I'm gonna bother Goer. Anything?
Oh, well, it's no bother. It's been a joy to listen to everyone and hear all the input for this topic. Yeah, life happens to all of us. We come across so many different challenges, but in the end, I think it is all Baba. He puts us in situations that are going to be to our benefit eventually and always. That's my feeling. We always come out the winners in the end, even if we cannot see with our limited minds at the time that we are experiencing what we do. We cannot see what is down the road, but he puts us in these situations only for our betterment and for our growth. And if we truly love and believe in him, then we know that it all comes from him. And if we give it all back to him, then we have nothing to worry about, because in the end, we come out the winner anyway. We come out growing, more mature in his love, and progressing as we are meant to. That's my feeling. I don't know how to. So whatever happens, happens because Baba has willed it that way. Doesn't he say that not a leaf moves without his will? So we have to accept that whatever happens, whether it's World War II, which he said was a necessary evil at the time, whether it's this pandemic, whatever it is, if our love and faith in him are at the level that, you know, that we should be, then we have nothing to worry about and nothing to lose. So that's it.
Yeah.
Jai Baba.
There's a quote of Baba's where he says, take it as a blessing or take it as a test.
Yes.
Whatever happens, happens for the best.
For the best, correct. Absolutely.
Take it as a blessing. But like I say, we kind of know these are true, but to be able to live in harmony or accept these truths deep down is the great challenge.
Often, yeah.
Yeah.
So we have to grow into that, yes, absolutely.
I wonder if I should bother. Oh, go ahead, yeah.
No, I said that's also his grace. If you ask for his help to encourage, to grow that trust in him, he will absolutely put that in you as well. So that it comes with time and with your growing in his love. So, Jai Baba. It will come.
And I think we are so fortunate because where so many of the people in the world have no place to go in the face of something like this, we can always go within.
Yes, exactly.
Away from the hurricane of the world and be at the deepest level of the heart.
Yes.
And, you know, we have that option at any time. And how fortunate. And I think of so many people, all they can do is go to a little corner of their mind, which is never secure or, it's like quicksand, you know. So we are blessed in that.
Very blessed, indeed. Yes.
I'm going to bother Marta though. Anything.
Hey Jeff. Hey guys. It's not any bother. You know, when I was getting ready for this, and I was thinking of all the stuff you presented, and one word came into the forefront of my mind, and that was faith. By God's grace, He's given me the gift of faith, and that faith is my ticket to freedom, because I love this thing from Effort and Grace. You have no idea of my love and compassion, which sustains your very being. In love is infinite compassion, and whatever happens is already tempered by my compassion. That to me is giving me so much freedom. And when I start to spin out about anything, I go, wait a minute, Bob is doing this, I'm not doing it. I tell you, I don't know what happened, but there is such freedom in feeling that faith that Bob has bestowed on me by his grace, I guess, you know, that whatever's happening comes from his love. And the other thing I was thinking is, you know, we're human beings, we're so funny. Baba says, don't worry, be happy. Just love me, remember me. But he doesn't say, love me, remember me, and I will explain why I'm doing everything. No, he doesn't say that. It is not our business to know why Baba does anything. We don't, if I have faith in Baba, then, I mean, that's the way the mandali works. So there are examples. You just, okay, well, if it's not working out the way I think, then that's just the way I think, but Baba, like Goher said, you have the whole perspective. We don't have the whole perspective, Baba does. So I just marvel at the freedom of that feeling. I mean, really to feel that Baba is doing it. And I don't have to carry, I don't have to fret. Like Goher said, you just remember Baba, and yeah, things could be hard, things can be sad, things can be terrible. But then underneath though, that this is his love that's doing this for something that I may or may not understand. And it isn't even my business to understand. It's not my business. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah.
Well put. Well put.
Yeah.
There's a line, I don't know if I got the wording exactly right, but by one of the Indian saints, Sri Aurobindo, where he says, faith is an intuition yet to be proven through experience, or yet to be known through experience.
That's really beautiful.
Faith,
Yeah.
faith is an intuition yet to be experienced, the truth of which is yet to be experienced. But it's got its basis in the real intuition. Even if we haven't quite got there. But anyway, that what you said there reminds me of that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think we're getting toward the end here, unless somebody else. It's interesting. I don't know if I could find it. Rainey sent me an email where Baba was asked the very question we're discussing. I'm going to see if I can find it quickly. Here it is. Harmony with the universe. The question that Baba's asked, are you folks able to hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, this is a question that was asked of Baba. The questioner said, if all the beautiful things we have known, moonlight, stars, music, the sound of the sea, the fragrance of flowers, our little dreams, are Maya, what is there left to take their place when you sweep them out of our hearts and minds and leave only the concept of a very far off and abstract goal, realization? For until we are realized, it leaves us with nothing but emptiness and very sad. That's the question that Bob was asked. And this is Baba's answer. Beauty and ugliness have relative existence. To one trudging along under a scorching sun, barefooted, with an empty stomach, Maya outside won't look beautiful. The mood of the subject, meaning the perceiver, the mood of the subject, of the perceiver, invests the object, the perceived, with its own coloring. Let me read that. The mood of the subject, and our mood invests the object with its own coloring. The goal of realization does not necessarily imply for an average man denial of things good or bad. It only emphasizes its relative worth. From the heights of realization, Maya would cease to exist. It was pure imagination. Even apart from the spiritual experience, the conception that you are in the world but not of the world would go a long way in dissipating sadness and the feeling of void, of emptiness. If one were to treat sincerely and wholeheartedly Maya as pure imagination, the resultant poise and non-identification with things external would automatically open up this internal fountain of bliss. And instead of feeling sad and empty, one would be able to live the perfect life of being in harmony with the universe. That's the quote.
Wow.
Yeah, wow, that's anyway.
Wow, that's beautiful.
It's
Yeah.
beautiful. Yeah. It's amazing.
Somehow Rainey found that quote.
Somehow Rainey found it. Yep.
Yep. Confound her. Yeah.
Hey, no confounding me.
Oh, hey,
She's
wait.
here. She's here.
Where did she come from?
She just came when you read it.
Isn't that funny?
She came from an early music concert in an altered state, but I heard you confound me.
Hey, read it. Do you have it right there? You can read it once again, and then we'll have a few moments of silence.
Okay, I'll see if I can find a way for you to hear me. The question to Maya Baba about harmony with the universe. If all the beautiful things we've known, moonlight, stars, music, the sound of the sea, the fragrance of flowers, our little dreams, are Maya, what is there left to take their place when you sweep them out of our hearts and minds and leave only the concept of very far off and abstract goals? Realization. For until we are realized, it leaves us with nothing but emptiness and leaves us very sad. Baba answered, beauty and ugliness have relative existence. To one trudging along under a scorching sun, barefooted with an empty stomach, Maya outside won't look beautiful. The mood of the subject to the perceiver invests the object, the perceived, with its own colouring. The goal of realization does not necessarily imply, for an average man, denial of things good or bad. It only emphasizes its relative worth. From the heights of realization, Maya would cease to exist. It was pure imagination. Even apart from the spiritual experience, the conception that you are in the world but not of the world would be a long way in dissipating sadness and the feeling of void, of emptiness. If one were to treat sincerely and wholeheartedly Maya as pure imagination, the resultant poise and non-identification with things external would automatically open up this eternal fountain of bliss. And instead of feeling sad and empty, one would be able to live the perfect life of being in harmony with the universe.
Wow.
Beautiful.
Great. Great find there. Great find.
Really beautiful.
Hey, so we'll hear from Michael, and then then we'll have a few moments of silence.
Well, I was thinking about Dinku's question, and I remember some quotes of Baba. The one that's in the barn, I don't remember the whole quote from Hafiz, but basically it was that the master, whatever the master does, he does it for the benefit of all. And it's hard to conceive of that when there's so much evil in the world and people acting terrible towards each other. But Baba explains that everyone is his children, is his child. The evil ones are his, and they're on their way to becoming better and better souls. And the stuff that we go through with them is what we need to go through to become better and better. And he always liked opposition. I mean, if we'd had comfortable lives where we didn't suffer, our progress would be slow, if at all. So he likes to throw these curveballs at us. And they're hard to take when they come. But if we remember that he loves us, that this is for our own good. He gives us what we need, not what we want. So I can't believe this, the stuff that I've gone through in my life. And now that I'm on the other side of it, I am so grateful for the trouble that I went through. And I definitely would not have chosen it, but I did. And all my suffering, it's been my own doing. So, Jai Baba to that.
Yeah.
Okay?
Beautifully said, Michael. Really. Yeah, let's have a few moments of silence, see if we can get in harmony with the universe here. Jai Baba.
Jai Baba.
Yeah.
Jai Baba.
Jai Baba.
Jai Baba.
Hey, Baba.
Jai Baba.
Thank you.
Jai Baba.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, so
Interesting
I
too.
hope
Thank you.
I hope that was a great what can I say? A great
Topic.
email.
Yeah, very good, Dinko.
Yeah.
Thank
And
you. Thank you.
you know, and let me mention, I'm thinking of taking like taking next Sunday off because it's the holidays,
Mhm.
and then we'll meet the following Sunday, except unless there's one woman, Sue Chapman, if she's in town, she has a very interesting story of how she came to Baba. And if she's here in Myrtle Beach, I might prevail upon her to share her story. But then I'll let you know by email.
Okay.
Okay.
Jai
Thank
Baba.
you.
Thank you. Jai Baba.
Yeah,
Jai
let's
Baba.
see.
Thanks,
We
Jeff.
gotta.
Merry
have to-
Christmas.
Merry
Yeah, Merry
Christmas.
Merry,
Christmas, all of you.
Merry
and-
Merry
Christmas,
Christmas
all.
to all of you.
Merry
Merry
Christmas.
Christmas.
Baba. Merry
Merry
Christmas.
Christmas,
Ah,
Jai Baba.
Jai Baba. And
Jai
in just
Baba.
a second, before we go, we have to, Nasreen has to ring the bell.
Okay. 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 Okay.
Go ahead.
Meher Baba ki jai.
Meher
Meher
Baba
Baba
ki
Avatar
Jai.
Meher
Jai.
Jai. Avatar Meher Baba
Avatar
ki jai.
Meher Baba
Hey, Jay.
Jai.
Baba Jai.
Now I can.
Baba
Avatar Meher Baba ki jai.
Ki jai.
Now I can sleep well.
Okay.
When I hear that, I know I can sleep well.
All right.
Yeah. So have a nice Christmas and
Yes.
and holidays. And Gabrielle, that was very touching what you shared. It was beautiful. Really.
Everybody.
Yeah. And we should also thank Jaysima, who stays up. Jaysima, do you have to work tomorrow morning?
Yeah, Jeff.
See, he stays up. He's got to go to. I mean, it's no small thing. You know.
Thank
If you
you.
get fired, if you get fired, we'll pass a hat around and pay. Help you out. Okay. Well, Jai Baba.
Jai Baba.
Jai Baba.
Lovely, Danny.
Meher Baba Avatar Meher Baba ki jai.
Ki Jai.
Avatar Meher
Meher
Baba
Baba
ki
ki
jai.
Ki Jai.
Avatar Meher
Avatar
Baba
Meher Baba
ki
Ki
Jai.
Jai. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Merry Christmas,
Too.
Baba.
Happy